For performing maintenance on the wheels of your bike, you will need to adjust the position of the display so it does not become damaged while the bike is positioned upside down, and engage the rear brake. Slowly back up, elevate the bike with the brake engaged, and rotate until it is positioned upside down with the handlebars and frame rested on yourself some extra space to work inside the wheel area. To remove the rear wheel, start by cutting the zip ties that fasten the motor cable to the frame and disconnect the motor connection. Next, you will need to remove the rear brake caliper. Use the 5mm Allen wrench to remove the caliper mounting bolts and set the bolts aside. Allow the caliper to sit along the frame and hand tighten the bolts back into the mount for nuts using the appropriate open wrenches, but do not fully remove the nuts at this time. They will be fully removed after the wheels off the frame. Pull the chain tensioner to relieve chain tension and guide the chain off the crank. Using the 5mm Allen wrench, loosen and remove the chain tensioner bolt from the dropout plate and carefully remove the chain tensioner assembly from the wheel, resting it on the frame of the bike. Ensure that the Allen tool is firmly inserted into the bolt before loosening to prevent. Set the wheel aside with the brake rotor facing upwards from the axle and set aside. You will repeat this process on the other side as well. Meter open wrench on the flat portion of the axle to properly align the dropout with the axle for removal. 1 to 2 inches away from the other tire lever. Pull both tire levers towards the spokes to lift the bead off of the rim. Disengage one lever and move it 2 inches down the tire and pull to lift the next section of the bead off the rim. Repeat this process until the bead loosens. Then slide the tire lever along the rim under the bead. Carefully pull the inner tube valve from the valve hole on the rim. Fully remove the inner tube and set aside on a clean, smooth surface. Do not set the inner tube on the floor where it could pick up debris or on any sharp. Set the wheel aside with the brake rotor facing upwards. If you remove the axle nuts or dropout plates, loosely install them back onto the wheel. Your wheel is now ready to be placed back onto your bike. To reinstall the wheel, first slide the dropout plates back into the frame and then guide the chain back onto the freewheel. Next, install the 2 dropout plate bolts on each side of the wheel, leaving them loose to properly adjust the wheel alignment. Once the wheel is properly aligned, tighten the dropout bolts with a 5mm Allen wrench. Tighten the axle nuts if they were loosened during the removal process. Then install the chain tensioner back onto the dropout and tighten the bolt in place. Once the chain tensioner is tightened, guide the chain back onto the crank. Next, reinstall the brake caliper onto the mount and tighten the bolts with the 5mm Allen wrench. Check that the caliper is properly aligned and adjust if necessary. Reconnect the motor cable and secure it to the frame with zip ties. Be sure to trim the end of the zip ties after fastening. The rear wheel is now installed and ready for use. If you're not performing maintenance on the front wheel, you can now position the bike upright and reposition the display using the 3mm Allen wrench.